Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. By viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening. It's Tuesday, November 30th. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. San Diego's vaccination deadline for city employees is approaching. They must be fully vaccinated or apply for an exemption. Among them, police and fire department employees have the highest unvaccinated rates. KPBS reporter Kitty Alvarado with a look at why their vaccinations are important to us all.
Unvaccinated city employees are running out of time to comply with a COVID vaccine mandate. They have until December 1st to be fully vaccinated or apply for an exemption. At more than 35%, the police department has the highest number of unvaccinated employees, followed by maintenance workers at more than 26% and the fire department at more than 15%.
I just have trouble understanding it. The science seems really clear.
Eric Hansen, who lives and works in San Diego, was getting his booster shot at Lincoln High School. He says he doesn't understand why first responders, especially police officers, have such high numbers of unvaccinated employees.
And I deal with the public as much as they do. I deal with classrooms full of kids. And so if I have to do it, and I am doing it, I don't see why they shouldn't do it too.
Lindsay Gabriel was also getting a booster. She says first responders have earned the right to have the option.
The first responders, they're there for us. I feel like they should be able to make their own choice.
We need the workforce intact. We need the workforce healthy. We need these first responders fit and able to live long and healthy lives. To take care of us. And I think this is really an essential piece of that.
Dr. Peter Chin Hong, a professor and infectious disease specialist, says unvaccinated people have a higher viral load for a longer period of time and infect more people, creating more strains that pose a risk to everyone.
Most of the variants, if not all of them, pretty much arise in unvaccinated individuals. We need to break the chain of transmission if we're going to stop the deltas, the alphas, the gammas, the omicrons of the future.
The city says employees who refuse to get vaccinated will get a letter stating they are in danger of losing their jobs and have 30 days to comply. If they fail to do so, the city will begin the termination process. Kitty Alvarado, KPBS News.
Not much is known about Omicron, the new coronavirus variant, but the nation's top economist argues it has the potential to hurt the economy and undo all of the recent progress that's been made. Isabel Rosales explains the three major financial threats Omicron poses to the U.S.
As COVID-19 infections have risen and fallen, so too has the U.S. economy.
October saw job growth and the unemployment rate fell.
But now the country's top economists warn Omicron has the potential to undo much of that economic progress.
The recent rise in COVID-19 cases and the emergence of the Omicron variant pose downside risks to the employment and economic activity and increased uncertainty for inflation.
Jerome Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve, testifying before the Senate Banking Committee. Powell says if Omicron prolongs the pandemic, Americans could see prices continue to rise, job growth take a hit, and the current supply chain crisis get even worse.
Greater concerns about the virus could reduce people's willingness to work in person, which would slow progress in the labor market and intensify supply chain disruptions.
In the fall, as infections from the Delta variant fell, the economy gained traction. Powell predicted the U.S. economy would grow a strong 5% this year. But since investors learned about the new variant of concern, the markets have seesawed, taking sharp dips and rebounds. Another headache for Americans, inflation. Powell says it might linger.
We can now see, certainly through the middle of next year, it's an expectation.
As scientists rush to study Omicron, uncertainty remains, both on the medical front and the nation's economic health. In Washington, Isabel Rosales, KPBS News.
It's an antiviral drug called molnupiravir, and it could change the way we treat COVID-19 patients. Today, an FDA panel endorsed the pill made by pharmaceutical company Merck. The company is asking for emergency use authorization to use the drug to treat people who are at risk of developing severe symptoms from the virus. The data presented show the pill reduces hospitalization or death by 30%. The FDA is expected to make its own decision before the end of the year. Almost every city in San Diego County now has districts to elect city council members instead of holding citywide votes, but not National City. Race and equity reporter Christina Kim reports Filipino community members there are planning to sue for greater political representation.
The California Voting Rights Act says minority groups who believe their political power is being diluted in citywide elections can sue. And that's what could be happening soon in National City. Audie DeCastro is the attorney who filed the official violation.
Historically, National City has had at-large voting, which has resulted in dilutive voting for the Filipino and APIs that reside in the city of National City.
Asian Americans are the second largest demographic group in National City, second only to Latinos, according to the U.S. Census. But that's not reflected in National City politics, says DeCastro.
In the past 2 decades, there hasn't been any significant progress in getting Filipinos and APIs to be represented on the city council.
He believes the law is clear and the precedent has been set by other cities in the county.
If you take a look at cities like Poway, Solana Beach, Imperial Beach, those are cities that are smaller and less racially polarized, but yet they adopted district voting. So if you just look at precedent, I think National City has to become a district voting.
National City officials have until December 23rd to respond. KPBS reached out to the mayor's office for comment and did not hear back. Didas Yamani is a National City resident and realtor who ran for city council in 2020 and lost. She thinks district voting is key to ensuring accountability.
I believe now is the best time for districting. Most especially, there are issues and concerns that constituents are wanting to be addressed, and they would like to see that person accountable to them and that will service them properly or will address their concerns properly.
Yamani says district voting would help enfranchise Filipino American senior citizens, many of whom feel left out of the political process and are fearful of the rise in anti-Asian hate.
This part of the population are sometimes, yes, they speak English, right? But they wanted to see somebody that they can relate to share their issues. Sometimes they get intimidated when they don't see that person representing them.
Christina Kim, KPBS News.
The attorney representing Filipino community members says if the city doesn't extend or adopt a plan for district voting, he will move forward with a lawsuit. A federal appeals court has upheld California's ban on high-capacity ammunition magazines. The ban was previously overturned by a San Diego federal judge who ruled it was unconstitutional. Today, a divided Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that the state law reasonably supported efforts to reduce mass shootings. The California Rifle and Pistol Association filed the lawsuit challenging the law. It says it will appeal to the Supreme Court. Movies and TV shows make it seem like police pursuits and officers shooting at cars is a regular part of police work. But in reality, it's incredibly dangerous and for the most part against department policies and state law. Yet KPBS investigative reporter Claire Tregesser found dozens of examples when police officers in San Diego County fired their weapons at moving vehicles. A warning, this story contains graphic images.
On a cool day in January 2018, 32-year-old Jessica Turner stole a white pickup truck from the San Diego Convention Center parking garage. Unfortunately for her, San Diego police officers Darius Giamsecchi and Angel Vidrios were in the vicinity. When Turner made a U-turn, Giamsecchi jumped out of his squad car and ran toward her. Vidrios later described what happened.
I saw her immediately gun it. She She left around DJ and the Harbor police vehicle.
Jamsetchi shot at her from the street. Vidrio shot at her through his windshield, shattering the glass. Thankfully, none of the shots hit the unarmed Turner, and she was arrested a few minutes later. The decision by those officers to shoot at a person in a moving vehicle is one of the most dangerous things they could have done. So says Travis Norton, an expert in how police use force.
It's not going to stop the vehicle. The vehicle is going to continue to travel, and it could strike other people, and you could miss and hit somebody else in the public.
If a bullet hits the driver, the car is likely to continue moving and crash. Bullets can also ricochet off the car or truck and put other lives at risk. This is why police departments ban these shootings except under narrow circumstances. But that reality hasn't stopped officers from firing shots at cars. Between 2012 and 2018, officers from San Diego County police agencies shot at people in cars 20 times, or 3 times a year. Officers missed the driver 8 times and once hit a passenger instead. 4 of the drivers who were hit died, and almost 2/3 of the shootings resulted in the driver crashing the car. A new state law enacted in 2020 further restricts when shooting at cars is allowed. San Diego District Attorney Summer Stephan says it clears up any confusion.
This wasn't spelled out before that in cases, and what it said was, now the standard is clear, is that the person in the vehicle has to have committed a felony that includes a felony that has a potential for serious bodily injury or death, and that if you let them flee, they could harm somebody in a way that would result in serious bodily injury or death.
The new law was not in effect in 2018 when the officers shot at Turner. But department policy was. It states officers shouldn't fire at a vehicle unless there's an immediate threat of death or serious physical harm to the officer or other persons. Still, neither officer was charged or disciplined. In fact, no officers from local departments have ever been charged for shooting at a car, and only one officer was disciplined. And in that case, it was because the officer accidentally fired his gun while approaching a suspect in a vehicle. Meanwhile, Turner was not only charged with stealing the truck, but also for using it as a deadly weapon because she drove it toward the officers. Records show that when officers are questioned after these shootings, they almost always tell investigators they fired because they felt threatened by the car. This should not be their first instinct, says Norton, the police trainer.
If they can get out of the way, they should get out of the way. And because that vehicle is going to continue to travel, even though they shoot the driver, if they shoot the driver, very hard to shoot a moving target.
The officers who shot at Turner were asked to justify their decision to shoot.
If she was going to be going straight into traffic without looking, which could possibly cause a collision. We have a lot of motorcycles that go down harbor as well, so that could have been deadly.
With that answer, Jamsetchi did not clearly state that he felt the unarmed Turner posed an immediate threat of death, as the department policy requires. But then Jamsetchi's attorney from the police union cut in and elicited a more specific answer from him.
If I may?
Yes.
What did you think would happen if that suspect vehicle got away?
She was going to kill somebody else.
Claire Tregesser, KPBS News.
And to search the police records and see a map of where these incidents occurred, you can go to kpbs.org/police records. Our 3-part series concludes tomorrow. President Biden today signed 4 bipartisan bills aimed at supporting U.S. veterans. One bill supports veteran maternity care, and another helps healthcare veterans get jobs after their service. The third bill addresses VA benefits and equity, and a fourth is aimed at helping veteran survivors' families with in-state tuition eligibility. Biden described the support the bills offer as a, quote, truly sacred obligation to U.S. troops. A San Diego case may be the first test of California's Crown Act, which seeks to prevent mistreatment and discrimination based upon natural black hairstyles. KPBS Speak City Heights reporter Jacob Ayer spoke with a San Diego resident who says he was mistreated by his employer for having dreadlocks.
Jeffrey Thornton and his attorney Adam Kent were joined by other San Diego leaders in La Mesa this morning as they announced a legal claim being filed against the company Encore Global. Thornton says the discrimination happened in an interview for an audiovisual job at the Hilton San Diego Bayfront. He says Encore asked him to cut his dreadlocks.
I expected that I was to remove my ear gauges. It's not a problem. I'd be willing to trim my facial hair. But I wasn't prepared to be told that I would need to cut my hair in order to comply with Encore standards. After all, I've been working with the company since 2016, and I started my locks journey in 2019.
Thornton says he couldn't accept the job under those conditions. He says he worked for Encore in Florida and was never questioned about his hair before.
If it wasn't a problem in Florida, it shouldn't be a problem in California, right? So I expected that I would be within neat and professional.
The Crown Act bill was authored in 2019 by then California State Senator Holly Mitchell. It seeks to prohibit employers and public schools from banning natural black hairstyles, including braids, cornrows, and dreadlocks. But currently, there is no means of enforcing the Crown Act.
We have asked the court not only to make Mr. Thornton whole for the damages he has suffered, but to make sure that Encore Global is never again able to enforce grooming policies that disparately impacts black Americans.
The claim is being filed in San Diego County Superior Court. Jacob Ayer, KPBS News.
Weather across Southern California has been dry, but that won't stop winter skiing. Big Bear Mountain Resort says Friday will be opening day for the general public at Bear Mountain and Snow Summit. If you have season passes, then you get a head start on skiing on Thursday. Ski resorts in the Sierra Nevada have been seeing postponements because of the lack of snowfall.
We're looking at some gusty winds to persist through the rest of the day today and into tomorrow, thanks to a weak low-end Santa Ana wind event. And on top of that, temperatures are going to stay pretty mild likely through Wednesday, but we'll see a little bit of a drop-off for some coastal areas and further inland beyond Wednesday. No rain in sight, though, unfortunately, for at least the next 5 to 7 days. Temperatures as we head into tonight getting down into the 40s and 50s in El Cajon, upper 40s for you out towards Chula Vista, getting down to 49 in Mount Laguna. And then again, the setup for your Wednesday is high pressure across the interior spots, and that kicks up the Santa Ana winds and brings an elevated risk for wildfire danger across the southern part of California here. Gusts around 30 to 50 miles per hour possible there, not so much near the coast. I think this is likely going to be a little bit further inland. Blowing dust also a possibility here. Temps on your Wednesday getting up into the mid 70s for you in Oceanside, 72 out towards San Diego, 83 over in Escondido. Again, certainly warmer further inland, mid 80s out towards Borrego Springs. And then moving into Thursday, again, temperatures 10 to 20 degrees above normal for spots here across the interior southwest. So it is certainly going to be a mild one there on Thursday. Near the coast, temperatures fall back down to about 70 degrees for you Thursday, Friday, and then back into the upper 60s as we head towards Saturday, much more seasonable for this time of year. Further inland, we go from the low 80s on Wednesday back into the 70s for you Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and perhaps a little bit of a bump back up into the low 80s as we head towards the end of this coming weekend. In the mountains, not seeing a whole lot of change here, but temperatures could cool off a little bit there for you as we head into the weekend. On Saturday, perhaps dropping back into the low 50s before bumping into the 60s as we head towards Sunday. And in the deserts, not seeing much of a change here from day in, day out. Temperatures generally sitting in the low to mid 80s with plenty of sunshine ahead. For KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Jessica Pash.
With millions of people shopping online this holiday season, security experts are reminding you to keep your guard up. Scammers and hackers are using the ongoing supply chain issues to their advantage to try to steal money and private information. Jen Sullivan has the 3 things you should do to avoid falling victim.
Beware before you click buy. With a record number of people continuing their online holiday shopping this week, experts say stay alert.
We get international scammers that are tapping into the U.S. market
by looking for products that they know are in high demand and pretending to offer those just to get people's credit card information.
According to a survey from the National Retail Federation, 62.8 million people were expected to shop on Cyber Monday alone. Online retailers like Amazon are expecting huge online sales.
Last year, it was a record-breaking day for us on Cyber Monday, and we do expect it to be bigger and better this year.
That massive online demand, along with the ongoing supply chain crisis, has some shoppers concerned about availability. And online security expert Douglas Parisi says that desperation may leave holiday shoppers vulnerable against scammers and hackers.
The major carriers don't have the products, and so people start to look to third-party vendors, people that claim that they have several of these, and that should be a red flag. Is if somebody has something available that is very difficult to find. If they're not charging an exorbitant price, they're probably just scamming you.
Here's what he recommends you keep in mind to protect your money and personal data while you shop online. Number 1, shop only from trustworthy retailers with secure websites. 2, set up a separate email for online shopping only. And finally, use a credit card instead of a debit card for increased protection against any shady charges. For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
And for those who do shop online, will it lead to another holiday crush for the United States Postal Service this year? USPS and private shippers like UPS and FedEx are ramping up their hiring for the holiday season with 250,000 temporary workers. Between Thanksgiving and New Year's, USPS is gearing up to process 25 billion letters, cards, and packages.
Christmas is our season. This is when what we do means the most, and when everything comes together, all of our efforts throughout the year. There's no time for us like Christmas, the holidays. It's our season. We've done it now for 245 years. We're ready for this year, and we're looking forward to it.
Last year, the services were overwhelmed by the volume of packages, but this year, executives say they are ready to handle what may come their way. Still, there is some uncertainty because of the disruptions at shipping ports, leading to low supply of retail inventory.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, more Omicron cases are detected around the world, sparking debate about the effectiveness of travel bans. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Hi, I'm John Decker. Thank you for watching Evening Edition on KPBS. Now more than ever, local news is essential to our democracy, and KPBS is committed to delivering local news in San Diego and the Imperial Valley. Evening Edition, along with our other services on radio, digital, and podcasts, is how our news team delivers the news to you. How can we do it? With a passion for accurate storytelling and a commitment to excellence in journalism. But most importantly, we do it with your support, our members, our viewers. If you've already donated to KPBS, then we thank you very much for your continued support. If you haven't had a chance to donate, now is a great time to show how much you appreciate the news we deliver. So please go online and choose a level, pick a gift at kpbs.org, or call or text donate at 1-800-576-5727, and thank you.
Today is Giving Tuesday, celebrating generosity. KPBS reporter Melissa May describes how you can give to the animals in our county.
Giving Tuesday helps many nonprofits around the country and in San Diego County.
We rely on the support of our community for that, and today is a fantastic day to bring the community together, those of us that love animals, and, to be there for them.
Brian Doherty is the Chief Philanthropy Officer for the San Diego Humane Society and says they care for over 40,000 animals, both companion and wild animals, a year. For this Giving Tuesday, your donation will go twice as far.
We're really excited because we have a $40,000 match that will match all contributions to San Diego Humane Society.
The organization has helped San Diego become the largest city in the U.S. to keep healthy and treatable shelter animals from being euthanized.
It allows us to provide extraordinary medical services, to have services that go way above and beyond what traditional shelters have, with our behavior center, our kitten nursery, even organizations like Project Wildlife that are there for over 12,000 wildlife every year.
Many people depend on the services the Humane Society provides. Last year, 1.5 million pro bono pet meals were provided with the help of donations from the community.
For a lot of people, it's why we do a lot of the services that we do, where we provide free vaccines. We help out with low-cost spay-neuters. We are here to be able to help our community and those that need it.
If you're not able to open your wallets to support the Humane Society, you could open your home instead and join the thousands of volunteers who donate their time to fostering animals.
We have a particular need for fosters that are in our North County area, so they would be able to assist us with our Escondido and Oceanside campuses, and for big dogs.
Even though this is the slower season, over 1,200 companion animals and over 250 wildlife animals are currently being cared for at the Humane Society. Giving Tuesday donations to the Humane Society are being accepted through midnight tonight. Go to sdhumane.org/GT to donate. Melissa May, KPBS News.
Well, you've heard it before. Age is but a number, and a California swimming champion aims to prove it. Maureen Cornfield, also known as Mighty Mo, is celebrating her 100th birthday at the pool in Glendale, where she still swims almost every day. She didn't start swimming until she was 65 years old, and now Mighty Mo holds 14 world championships and 28 world records. She was inducted into the International Swimming Hall of Fame in 2018. A very happy birthday to Mighty Mo. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Good night.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. By viewers like you. Thank you.